Hi, I'm Robert Osborne. Tonight we've handed the programming reins to CBS Sunday morning correspondent Mo Rocca. So nice to have you here.
And I'm having a great time.
We're having a great time having you here. And Mo's final choice for us tonight is a drama from director Sidney Lumet, one of the best. Sidney Lumet in 1975. The movie is Dog Day Afternoon, starring Al Pacino. Why, of all the movies you could have picked, is this one of your four?
Well, I love this movie, and I have a personal connection to it in that when I grew up, my wonderful father always loved sort of the classic Hollywood heroes like John Wayne's. He adored Humphrey Bogart, who I know was more complicated than just a typical Hollywood hero, but he kind of used to grumble about the anti-heroes of the 60s and the 70s, and I didn't understand what that meant. And then a friend of mine in high school, Ed McKenna, said, come over to my house, and I got on VHS, or it might have been Betamax, this movie Dog Day Afternoon. And so I watched it, and I don't think I'd ever seen a hero like that. And I suddenly understood what anti-hero meant. And my father, incidentally, was a huge admirer of Al Pacino's and Dustin Hoffman. He didn't always love those roles, though. And it's obviously very funny. And, you know, he's doing something wrong. He's robbing a bank.
Right.
But you can't help but like him, in part because he's just so vulnerable and so fallible, and everything goes wrong, and he just wants people to be happy as he's robbing a bank.
His motives are so kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was,
we have to say how daring this was, too, at the time.
Totally. Right. Yeah, he's robbing a bank so that the man he's married in a ceremony can get a sex change operation, gender reassignment surgery. And what really strikes me, I watched it again recently, it's not, the performances aren't stereotyped at all. They play the emotions so real. I mean, Chris Sarandon's performance still holds up, and he's playing a pre-op transsexual, and he could have gone for, you know, stereotyped mannerisms or cheap laughs, and it's very affecting, the performance. It's totally contemporary.
And Sidney Lumet again. You know, I mean, he was so good with actors, having been an actor himself. But I think he gets such great performances out of people in every movie he's ever made.
Oh, and Al Pacino, I mean, here he is. You know, he's playing a gay man, and which, by the way, must have been something of a risk for him back then.
Oh, it had to be. Terribly big risk.
Yeah.
Because they just weren't, that wasn't subject matter for movies back then.
Right. It would have been forgivable if watching it now you said, oh, if you cringed a little bit because of places where they went over the top, but they didn't at all. They play it so real. And I love Charles Durning.
Yes,
and I'll never forget Charles Durning's obit. I mean, what a life.
Yeah.
Did you remember when he died?
Yes, I do.
I mean, do you remember that the obit described, maybe you knew this anyway, that in World War II, he sort of had hand-to-hand combat with a German soldier, and ended up having to kill this young German soldier, but then wept about it afterwards, and he just seemed like, what an amazing life. He didn't get his due.
No.
I also, I don't know in the history of movies about media circuses, you know, there obviously were movies that preceded it.
Well, particularly Billy Wilder's Ace in the Hole.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
The big carnival.
Yeah, yeah, but this one is in the major leagues of movies about media circuses.
Right.
And so I loved that too. I think I read somewhere that the crowd that showed up just to watch basically blended into the extras who were outside rooting for Sonny, for Al Pacino's character. And I can understand why.
Right. Well, let's see the movie. Here it is with John Cazale, Chris Sarandon, and Charles Durning. From Warner Brothers in 1975, Dog Day Afternoon.